First up. Oh, first up.
Well, hello everybody, and welcome inside the Rink Exchange here at the Lane County Fairgrounds. Isaac Rosenthal joined, as always, by Dylan Lee for Game 2 of this quick two-game set between the Oregon Ducks and the UCLA Bruins. An entertaining game last night, Dylan. Oregon jumped out to that 2-0 lead. We thought, okay, it's going to be Ducks all the way, and then in the second period, UCLA with those three straight goals to make it a game. Oregon got the back-and-forth win with their two goals in the third period. In addition to those goals, some entertainment value on the ice in between the penalty boxes. Big part of that involving Trevor Schott and Wes Barnes, and we talked about it. Trevor Schott, certainly not the guy who you would expect to see there, although I think it was maybe a little bit more talking than actual threatening from Trevor.
Oh, definitely. You know, his he likes to mix it up out there. He likes to get into the heads of his opponents. He definitely did that last night, as we can see from the end of the game extracurricular activities from Wes Barnes. Of course, he got that 10-minute on the score sheet, which
really means nothing, though. It's a 10-minute misconduct added at 20 minutes of the third period. It maybe doesn't look good for the discipline section of his report card, but he's suited up tonight. He'll play tonight. There's no suspension or anything for effectively trying to start a fight in the post-game handshake line. Now we'll just have to see how that carries over into tonight and whether any Ducks want to do anything about that or whether they're just going to let their play do the talking like they did last night.
Yeah, it's going to be tense, like we've mentioned a few times. What I'm interested in is how the Bruins are going to come back and really come out, see how they're going to react to that loss last night. I got to talk to the coach a little bit today. He said they should have had the game, and I think they definitely did have the edge there. And we both kind of said the same thing. They kind of fizzled out into the third period and just didn't play as tight as they would have liked. So I think he's looking for more out of his guys tonight, and I think he might get it. They're fired up.
Yeah, well, we got about a minute and a half on the clock before this game starts, so Dylan and I are going to take one more quick break here, and we'll be back with you with the anthem and with the puck drop shortly. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Suppose that's a sign-off. Well, hello once again. We are all ready for some hockey here. Just about, we'll wait for the anthems, I suppose, but the team's ready to play, continuing on from their great set of play last night. 3 entertaining periods of hockey, three very different periods of hockey last night, and we'll see what tonight has in store for us. We'll let the PA take over for the starting lineups here. Well, 20 minutes on the clock, and you may have heard in those starting lineup announcements pretty much the same look we saw from the Ducks yesterday. The one notable exception in the starting lineup is Joe Hoover on defense here for tonight. Had the night off last night. He's been a pretty good mainstay for the Ducks defensively this year, adding some offense as well, and just a big, strong player there. One of those rookies that certainly doesn't play like a rookie the Ducks have been blessed to have this season.
Yeah. Sorry, I was looking over our lineup here today. As you were saying, definitely a great addition to the Ducks. We did see it kind of tough to create chemistry in the beginning a little bit. There were some tweaks to do, but Coach Rich Salahor did do a great job of getting these lines together, and they're looking good. Well,
opening faceoff is won by the Ducks, knocked back into their own zone, and it's Will Daniels that took it, knocked it for Trevor McCarty, and then back over to Sulitzer. It's Trevor's shot that actually gains the zone for the Ducks and just throws it back behind the net. Now Schott with it again. Schott makes the pass over to Daniels. Daniels immediately fires a drive high and wide of the cage. And Joe Hoover collects. Back over now for UCLA to start up the ice. And into the zone come the Bruins. No numerical advantage for them in the shot. Dealt with easily by Cockrell. Back up to the point for the Bruins, and another shot wide. Rebound opportunity, but eventually taken care of there. Bruins still with it, now intercepted by Solitzer. Solitzer to go up the ice, try and take on two Bruins here, and he couldn't quite do everything. Still manages to retain a little bit of control of the puck before UCLA takes it away, and now it's eventually back with the Ducks. Shot there, and a nice deflection attempt from Chris Campbell hit the post. Still digging for the puck, and now taken away by UCLA as they'll try and break up ice. All they can do, though, is just throw it toward the goal, and they'll get a line change here. Ducks starting to move up. It's Scarlotta with it. He'll rip it off the boards, and it caroms in the corner for Shabara. Shabara goes to get it. Chris Campbell now takes it from him. Campbell goes behind the net, still with it. Campbell tries the backhand, another attempt at the backhand, and now Nick Shabara dumps it off along the boards.
Great angle there by Gabe Elvin. You know, he saw the backhand, the wraparound coming right away, and you know, he was there to stop it.
Just a Duck player introduced to the UCLA bench. Let's see who that was. Looked like it was Chris Stankovic. Found the made some not so friendly friends there. He's all right though, and hops right back over the bench.
Didn't see any pushing this time like we did last night.
No, they were just fine with letting him land that time as that puck caroms up into the screen. Good start to this one, Dylan?
Yeah, so far, I mean, it's looking pretty even as far as intensity. We haven't really seen either side give way. It's going to be interesting.
Face-off there won by Jake Yale. He had to work for that. Shot comes through from the point, hits somebody in the shin. And Brock Burgess collects it in the neutral zone, has to wait to get everybody back on side. Taken behind the net there by Wes Barnes, the one of the few Bruins we'll recognize by number, and not necessarily for the right reasons.
You know, he does have energy, though. You got to give it to him.
He certainly does. I'm sure one of those players, if you're a UCLA fan, got to be fun to watch him do what he does. Not unlike certain Ducks.
Certain Ducks that really aren't playing tonight.
Certain Ducks who may not be dressed tonight. I'll let you folks guess at home who that might be.
Our regulars probably know who that is.
Cody Drees works for the puck there, and is lost. There will be a delayed penalty on the play on UCLA, so the Ducks with 6 skaters on the ice for the time being. There's the touch-up from UCLA.
Poor communication right there. I mean, obviously they wanted to stretch that out as much as they could, get 6 guys on the ice. Just couldn't happen. From UCLA, though, kind of what we saw last night, not very fast moving to the puck in their defensive zone. They're kind of content right now to just let the Ducks sit in the zone and kind of just not even do anything, just drift towards them and let the Ducks do whatever they want.
Well, and speaking of certain individuals, Dylan, look who's come to play. Wes Barnes takes a seat for 2 minutes. Gives Oregon their first power play of the night. We saw some good power play looks from the Ducks yesterday. And hooking the call against Barnes there. Will Daniels with it. That one fired just by the cage. Taken up by UCLA as they try and break out shorthanded, but it's right back taken by the Ducks. Alex Solitzer thought about it, but had it knocked away from him, and now Joe Hoover's going to have to go chase this one down. Here is Solitzer up the ice for the Ducks. They try and get numbers here. McCarty's in the middle for Solitzer if he wants to pass. Instead, he goes for that extended wraparound and goes for the pass back up to the point to Hoover. Now back behind the net, Solitzer in the middle. That puck was loose somewhere. And behind the net it goes, collected by McCarty. McCarty now back to Solitzer, back to McCarty. Daniels to McCarty. McCarty with the shot just wide. That was a dangerous one. Rebound goes all the way to Joe Hoover. Now back for Trevor Schott. Schott tried to make a couple moves. He did split 2 guys, but eventually the puck knocked away by UCLA. It's going to go all the way back as far as Cockrell. 1 minute left on this power play, so good first half of it from the Ducks, although they might do more here, as that one could never find Trevor Schott and is going to be cleared by UCLA. Ducks will get a power play change here.
They're looking pretty good as far as power play. They do have good intensity against UCLA. UCLA's lack of intensity on the defensive end is kind of hindering them, as it so often does.
That's Chris Campbell with it for the Ducks. And you talk about that lack of intensity, the amount of time he had with the puck there. Well, that's a little bit of a push from behind, so some intensity there from Jeremy Mao, at least, as the puck comes back all the way to Stankovic on the point. He goes for the one-timer, and that one goes wide, but a good look there as Stankovic tried to find Taron Donnelly, did on the one-timer, but the shot went wide. Now it's Stankovic again, up through the neutral zone, into the attacking zone, rips a shot that's saved by Elvin. Rebound taken by Nick Vossler of UCLA. And tapped by Barnes as he's out of the box, so the Bruins back to 5-on-5. That puck knocked by Chris Stankovic, won't quite get out of the zone. Now it eventually does, but collected by Barnes, skating backwards in the neutral zone, and then tries to find Daniel Liu, who had one of the Bruin goals last night on a great short-handed breakaway.
Yeah, that goal was amazing. I mean, he got a deflected pass out of the Ducks zone, out of his defensive zone, and he was just all alone off to the races. He's a fast skater. He's definitely got wheels.
Another whistle here in the face-off, going all the way into the... Well, or is it, Dylan? Or is it?
That's got to be a neutral zone face-off. I think the refs were calling that one maybe some time to hug it out a little bit. They got a little close on that one, but I'm not sure they knew exactly what was going on. But as we say, that will happen.
That will happen, and anything, if you've watched the Pac 8, you know this. Anything can and anything will happen. Rich Salahor, trying to get any advantage, is still asking for that face-off to be conducted in the Bruin zone.
Oh, I'm sure he would have liked that one.
Once you've seen it there, you just want it to stay there.
Exactly.
Any coach in the world would do that. Puck goes all the way back to Darren Toller, one of those new Ducks on the roster as of this week, along with number 4, Zach Foss. Injury is a part of this game, unfortunately.
And I did get a chance to speak to Taron Donnelly, the coordinator. It does sound like they're going to be joining us for the rest of the season, so that's great.
Taken up the ice now by Liu, one of the strong skaters on UCLA, although he runs right into Toller there and didn't have an escape strategy to go around him. Puck now taken by the Ducks as they'll try and establish possession, get it out of their own zone here, and it is Jesse Leonard up through the neutral zone. Leonard moves around a man and eventually loses the puck. Almost taken back by Jake Yale, but he couldn't control it as it trickles back for Will Daniels now.
Boy, Isaac, if we were keeping stats up here, puck possession would be heavily favored for the Ducks right now. UCLA, they did get it right there, offsides, but just from what I'm seeing, the Ducks seem to have the puck most of the time.
They do have a lot of the puck, although the territorial advantage might be a little more up for grabs. The Ducks spending a lot of time in their own zone and in the neutral zone with the puck. But UCLA, they haven't been able to do much with it. Neither team on the scoreboard so far. So this game's still entirely up for grabs and not a whole lot of shooting going on to speak of. There is a rip there, though, by Wes Barnes, and eventually a penalty call there, and it looks like it's Will Daniels who knows where he's going.
High sticking on that call right there. I didn't really see it, to be quite honest, but Will felt pretty confident that he was going to the box, so he didn't really have anything to say about that.
Well, it is Daniels, and it looked like the official call there was roughing.
Interesting.
Whatever it is, it's 2 minutes on the board as Will Daniels takes a seat. We get to see the Oregon penalty kill out for the first time tonight. On that unit is Trevor McCarty, Alex Selitzer, Chris Stankovic, and Taron Donnelly. And there's a short-handed break, and Trevor McCarty couldn't quite find it at his feet there. How many times have we seen that, though, from the Ducks this season? Aggressive on the penalty kill.
Oh, definitely. It happens every time. They're looking for that aggressive penalty kill. They'll get 2 guys out and not really worry about just committing one on the forecheck. They look good.
And here is UCLA on the power play, but having to keep the puck in their own zone. Little move there by Wes Barnes to avoid the pressure from Alex Selitzer. And it's still Barnes with it, although Selitzer eventually does take it away from him. Tries to backhand for Donnelly. And now flipped up for Chris Campbell. This could be an opportunity shorthanded for Campbell. Campbell makes a move, and a shot just kicked aside, and a nice hit thrown there by Chris Campbell. He still has the puck, gets it to Brock Burgess, whose shot is saved. Rebound in front, puck is loose there. Everyone digging forward, and eventually the whistle comes, and that's going to draw some pushing and shoving there, and eventually a stick goes flying. And then some more arms in the faces of folks in different colored jerseys.
And this is what we knew we were going to see tonight. And, first period, not even 10 minutes through the first period, and it's happening already. Kind of surprised, to be quite honest, that another Duck isn't going to the penalty box. Oh, nope, yeah, they are motioning
Yeah, I think
forward.
you spoke a little bit too soon there. It looks like it's going to be Christian Tabone and for UCLA and Joe Hoover, and there's some chirping going on between the two of them, so
Oh, yeah.
another theme becoming a motif here.
We're definitely going to be seeing more of that tonight. We knew it was going to happen after, the scuffle in the handshake line last night. Usually a pretty good indicator of how the next game's going to go.
And really, I think it's good for the Ducks to end up with a series like this before that I-5 Cup game. They had Washington was their first home games of the season, and those games didn't really produce the kind of rivalry atmosphere than we thought. I think just because no one had really played hockey in a while.
Yeah.
And this time, it's going to be very different with Washington playing with a lot of desperation next week. So for Oregon to have this series with a team that's playing them really physically and playing them really tough is a good preparation for those Washington games for sure.
It's definitely good indicator of what they need to work on and what they need to do to bring home that I-5 Cup and then really finish out the season into the Pac-8 championship.
So we've got a 4-on-4 here.
It's a little interesting, don't you think?
Which is a little interesting because they're, by my math, should be a 4-on-3.
Yes.
But I'm learning to count, Dylan, and I believe I see 4 of each team on the ice.
No, yeah, there are four guys out there. No, you know what? There are 5 Bruins.
So we've got the matching minors then on those 2 roughings.
Yep.
As will happen in the Pac-8, but they'll still put them on the board just to confuse us.
If we had more money and more staff, I feel like we would have been on top of that one, Isaac.
Eventually, we'll get there. We'll get there. So UCLA on the power play still takes the puck through the zone, and it was shot wide of Cockrell. Chris Stankovic will clear it out of the zone along the boards, all the way back to Wes Barnes for UCLA. Barnes found Nick Katzeroff. And Taron Donnelly back to Stankovic as Oregon takes it once again, shorthanded in their own zone. Now it trickles all the way back through the neutral zone. Some pressure from Trevor McCarty. Couldn't quite find that. Oh, a great job by Alex Solitzer, not just to get there, but to get there in an onside position. That's some pressure shorthanded.
Oh, yeah, great awareness.
Now we'll be even, so still figuring out this numbers thing. Nice play from Sully nonetheless.
Great awareness to keep it in the zone. He even had a chance of that, fired a little bit over the tendy's head, but he looked good nonetheless.
So the players in the box will be out 15 seconds and a whistle. That shot came through, and that's the most offense I think we've seen out of either of the 2 new guys so far. Could have been a dangerous one. It did end up going wide, but maybe a good indicator of what's to come. Another shot is saved by Elvin, but loose in front. Trevor Schott tried to get a rebound there, and he gets up looking for a tripping. He's not one to ask for calls very often, but I think he might have a bit of a lobbying case there.
Yeah, it was definitely a close one.
In the act of shooting, if you will.
Oh yeah. Still 0-0. First period, obviously anything can happen. Wide open game, but first person to get on the board is definitely going to be happy about it.
Yeah, going to be a big goal. I suppose the first goal of the game always is, but after the face-off, the Ducks with the puck here. Once again, just content to kind of keep it in the UCLA zone and try and get organized on the breakout. Pass was too far in front of Scarlato, but now Oregon with it once again. Joe Hoover will just dump it in. And Chris Campbell going to try to get there first. He does, but he can't quite control the puck. Does just enough to stop it, though, keep it in the zone. Both teams trying to just whack at it, keep it there, and now it's UCLA with the chance for their first good opportunity of the night, but Danny Cockrell will just poke that one away from Christian Tabone. Nick Vossler with a nice little behind-the-back pass there along the boards. And now it's going to be collected by Scarlotta, who knocks it back to Will Daniels. Daniels back up to Scarlotta. Scarlotta looks up ice, and then he's just crunched into the boards by UCLA's Jeremy Mao, and then Nick Shabara throws his weight into Christian Tabone, so the hitting continuing to pick up here. We'll have to find out why Mike Luke isn't playing. I'm sure this is the kind of game he would just love to play in.
From what I heard, I think could be misinformation, but I think he was having some trouble with his ankle, so been out these past 2 games, haven't been able to skate with the Ducks.
I believe the hockey term for that would be lower body injury.
Ah, yes.
So that one going to be covered up by Elvin. 7:35 left in the first period of play. No score between UCLA and Oregon, but the penalty half of the score sheet already well populated.
And, you know, that list is just going to keep growing. The intensities out there is good for both teams. They're both fired up, want to win this game.
Jake Yale now knocks it back to Stankovic. Almost knocked over Stankovic's stick, and interrupted there by Brandon Chow. Moving up ice with it was Taryn Donnelly. Donnelly found Jesse Leonard, who then got it to Jake Yale. Leonard took a bit of a spill after the play, but Yale's shot on target is going to force a save from Elvin, and another face-off in the UCLA zone.
Great soundtrack tonight. We have our own Ty Anderton down there working the music and the PA system.
The multi-talented Ty Anderton.
Yeah, which
often one of our favorite cameramen up here in the booth.
Yeah, we've gotten to know him pretty good over the past 2 seasons. Does mean Trevor Peterson's actually on the bench as the backup Tendy.
Sam Rosenberg thought about a shot. He did find Cody Dries, though, and Dries had a good shooting position, but his shot was saved. Brock Burgess with what a hit there by Cody Dries. And it's clean?
Definitely no hand raised, so, you know,
Dries looks shaken up on his own hit there.
Yeah, no, he definitely got more of him than I think he was anticipating.
Knocked his man into the little post there at the end of the Ducks bench, and can be a dangerous position to make a hit, although no malice in that one, no more so than any other hockey hit anyway. Trevor Schott lost a glove there. Exposed hands still moving around, and nearly scored there. That would have been nifty. Still with it without a glove is Schott. Schott still controlling the puck, so no disadvantage for him. Will Daniels now flips it back to Hoover. Hoover's shot and eventually touched up by Wes Barnes, and that's going to draw a whistle, and that's going to be another penalty.
Boy, I saw what Trevor Schott was trying to do there. He was coming left to right on the ice and had 2 defenders on him, and he tried to just slip it backhand into the left of the goal, but it would have looked nice.
It would have.
You know, but
it still looks pretty nice.
Elvin was right on top of it. He saw it coming, kicked it away. Nice save.
Yeah, and Big Gabe Elvin, he's been in the right position tonight. I would even say more often than not, but that's not even the case. He's been in the right position 100% of the time tonight. He's made several good saves, and a couple of them coming on the penalty kill, as will the next couple, as the Ducks on a 2-minute power play here with, once again, Wes Barnes in the box. Unsportsmanlike conduct, the call against Wes Barnes. I didn't see the glove really come off from Schott. Did he have an involvement there?
You know, I really don't know.
It's kind of all I can think of.
It must have been a delayed call. And then when they finally touched it up, only thing I can think of is Wes Barnes ripping off the glove of Trevor Schott.
Well, Joe Hoover there just offside, and we talk about it at least once a game. I feel like those line infractions when you're on the power play, those offsides and your icings will just absolutely kill momentum with the extra man.
The linesman definitely calling it tight there. I think, that was a good call, good offsides call. Not very good awareness on the Ducks' part, but, these things will happen game in, game out.
That was a little bit of miscommunication there between Chris Stankovic and Taryn Donnelly. Nearly cost our created a shorthanded rush for UCLA. Instead, puck goes all the way back, and Nick Shabara with the hit there, a little bit from behind into the boards. UCLA wanted a penalty. There will be no call. Taryn Donnelly flips it over to Stankovic. Stankovic looks back to Donnelly, and Donnelly over to Campbell. That one was deflected down, played with a high stick, says the referee.
Wow. Gabe Elvin was right on top of that. It came right across his face, deflected down, right into his glove. He knew exactly where it was going, on top of it the whole way through.
Now the referee says that one played with the high stick above the crossbar, so the face-off going to come all the way to the into the Duck zone. So that's a big call there, and I suppose it will put a little bit of an asterisk on this save from Elvin, because technically wasn't really necessary. The ref would have waved the goal off, but
it was.
I'm mostly just playing there. The reflexes required on that save are pretty impressive nonetheless, whether or not the goal would have counted. Scarlotta gets it over to Nick Shabara. And once again, the offside call there. Second time on the same power play for the Ducks.
Visible frustration there. To be expected. Just not very good communication on this penalty, this power play.
So 4:47 on the clock, scoreless still between Oregon and UCLA after three very different but none of them low-scoring periods last night. Although I suppose we didn't have both teams score in the same period last night, did we?
No, that was strange. There were runs every single period. Ducks had the first.
That's a shot from a point there, driven by Taryn Donnelly. Oregon seems to be making a point of adding that to their game. We've seen Will Daniels do that several times this season. Joe Hoover scored on a couple from there. Daniels scored on one of them last night on a one-timer. And when you can get those shots with traffic in front, you can beat a good goaltender. And that's certainly what the Ducks are up against tonight in Gabe Elvin.
Yeah, I've been liking that pass back. It kind of seems counterintuitive, but you pass it back to get the slot really opened up, and when
another shot there got through from Brock Burgess right into the equipment of Gabe Elvin. So 4 seconds left on the penalty. Barnes ready to come out of the box.
Like I was saying, when you do have those snipers back there in the Will Daniels, that's a good shot to take any day.
Jake Yale will dig in for the face-off off of a UCLA stick, and ended up having to be played by Elvin. Now UCLA trying to move through the neutral zone here. Christian Tabone with it. Tabone still with it. And he's going to try and go behind the net. He'll keep the puck. Slides it over, and the one-timer there was taken by Jeremy Mao, and it looked like Wes Barnes was in front to get a deflection on it. Ended up knocking it into the netting behind Danny Cockrell, but that was a good-looking play from UCLA.
Oh, definitely. They, not much going on. A little bit of, where's the puck by the Ducks. Didn't really have too many people in position. Great awareness by UCLA.
Good job by the Ducks there to take the puck right after the faceoff. Sam Rosenberg is going to give chase to this one. Rosenberg tried to flip it back to Cody Dries, but knocked it too far. Some Ducks running into each other there. We saw that at a UCLA last night. Brock Burgess tries to flip it forward for Dries. Dries couldn't quite dig it out of there, and then it'll be flipped up. Still in the Duck zone, though. And Ducks still trying to do something offensively here. Passed back by Toller. And Dries will flip it finally out of the zone. Pat Taylor knocked the puck across the ice there, and there will be a whistle.
Did you see that?
I didn't get a good look at that one.
No. Not sure what was called, but a lot of Biggie being played tonight, interestingly enough. Sounds like exclusively Biggie's greatest hits, if I'm not mistaken.
And, yeah. Yeah.
Bit of an aside there, but that's what we're dealing with down here.
Puck iced there by UCLA. We'll go all the way back into the Bruin zone here. 2:50 remaining in the first period of play. Almost time for the Zamboni man to do his thing.
Yep, Ollie out there waiting for his turn to get on the ice.
One of the better Zambo drivers here, does a real good job of it.
Everybody loves Ollie, definitely respected, super nice guy.
Sharpened my skates.
Yeah, very multi-talented. He plays as well, Men's League 1, super fast. I've played against him. He makes me look like, well, something not good to say on the broadcast. Let's say that.
Good save, Dylan. Good save.
Yeah.
Also a good save there of sorts by Danny Cockrell, just knocking the puck up out of play.
While we are talking about the rink employees always like to go ahead and thank everybody here at the rink for giving us this space, letting us share this space here to do our broadcast.
Thrown toward net there by UCLA, but from outside the blue line. Trevor McCarty got a touch there, and Oregon tries to move through the zone. McCarty tried to throw his weight directly into Jeremy Mao, but it wasn't really a clean connection. McCarty still will chase the puck. He's been having to be a little bit all over the place tonight, as he so often is, just such a strong skater. He's always in some kind of a good position. Alex Sulitzer now will gain the red line and just flip it into the corner. Lets the Ducks get a change here with 1:36 left in the period, and another whistle coming up.
A lot of stoppages in play in this last 3 minutes here. It's been kind of dragging on. Both teams are looking a little tired.
Well, taking a seat for UCLA is going to be Jeremy Mao.
Apparently he has too big of a heart on the ice. I'm not familiar with that call.
And Mao is really jawing at Trevor McCarty, and the linesman comes over to him, tells him to cool it. We're going to have to listen for the PA announcement there, as I think everyone in the scorer's booth is also trying to figure out what that hand signal from the referee was.
See, I just saw Kevin go ahead and motion. What is this?
There's
McCarty.
He's asking Ty Anderton. Maybe they'll look it up.
Google is your friend. Oh.
And Kevin stealing my old trick from the scorer's booth. When you don't know what the hand signal is, it's
Call it a
penalties on the play.
Yeah. Classic.
So well, we'll see. Did they go 4-on-4 for real this time, or did they make a match after the whistle again? Looks like we do have 4-on-4. Little bit sloppy there, but Nick Shabara takes it for Chris Campbell. Campbell lost the puck after trying to shoot it. It ended up just loose there for Chris Stankovic to take a poke at it. Stankovic will go all the way behind the net. Tried to find Taron Donnelly, and good job by Donnelly to knock that one down, as it was almost taken up ice by UCLA. And finally that puck will go all the way back into the neutral zone. 38 seconds left in the period. It's Chris Campbell with it for the Ducks. Campbell had Shabara in front, went for the shot though, and Gabe Elvin equal to it.
Can't really blame him for that. Gabe was
shot there from UCLA, thrown wide by David Giroux. Nick Shabara going to have to try and chase that one down, but it's taken by UCLA. Joe Hoover with the pass back for Will Daniels with 10 seconds left in the period. Shabara flips it for Alex Seltzer. 5 seconds left. 4, 3, 2, 1, and that will do it for the end of the first period of play. No score between Oregon and UCLA. Not the same could be said for the penalty action, though. Already a busy job for the folks opening and closing those penalty box doors. Speaking of that, there will be 26 seconds left on the 4-on-4 when we start the second period. We'll take a quick break and we'll come back with some thoughts on the first 20 minutes of play. Well, hello once again. Just about ready for the second period of hockey, and let's go ahead and recap the scoring from the first period.
This is going to be tough, Isaac. We got 0 from the Ducks, and we also got 0 from the Bruins.
Look at the notes there. 0, 0, 0. We could not give you quite as detailed a recap on the penalties, although there were many penalties called already, and there will be a plethora already. Good word choice there, Dylan.
Yeah, syllables. We're reaching the syllable count already.
We've got. Remember, we do have a syllable max on this broadcast, but we're not there yet. So, 26 seconds left on the carryover. 4-on-4 for the mystery penalty, written down on the score sheet as penalty.
Yeah, penalty. If I can describe the signal to you in many words, it was as if the ref had a giant bear paw and tapped his heart. Not really sure what that signal is. Maybe you guys can give us some insight out there. But that's what we saw. No one in the box knew what was going on either. Please let us know.
We're going to go with 2 minutes for bear clawing.
Bear clawing. Maybe too much heart, as is in Grinchland. His heart grew 6 sizes on the ice out there. That is dangerous.
Let's get back to hockey.
Yes, let's go.
So, we talked about this several times in the first period. Last night was really a tale of 3 very different periods. Dylan, what's your prediction for the second period?
It's kind of hard to see what's coming here, just because it's been a stalemate from both sides. Both sides have had good rushes, and they've also had some things they want to work on. I'd like to see them work on. Mostly the Ducks. Where they're going wrong here, it's just kind of some miscommunications happening, especially on passing. They're making some passes that maybe they're not on the right level as who they're passing to, so the receiver of the pass has to do a little bit extra work to actually get the puck on his stick, which in turn just making them a little bit more tired than they were last night. Everything was crisp, everything was flowing good. They've missed that so far in the first period.
It looks like the referee over there by the UCLA bench, maybe speaking with the UCLA coaching staff. I'm sure if they are, there might be a similar conversation with the Ducks bench. Referees just trying to make sure they keep control of this game, as there's already been several instances where there's been comings together. There was the skirmish in the post-game handshake last night. Certainly there may be other things going on. One of them right now, though, will be the face-off, the opening puck drop of the second period. Going to be won by the Ducks, but with no particular control, and knocked all the way back into the Duck end. Happy birthday, by the way, on the Ducks bench to AJ Bernhardt, one of the Ducks assistant coaches, if Facebook has given me correct information. It usually does. Will Daniels there knocks it back for Joe Hoover. Hoover tries to find Trevor Schott, and both players out of the penalty box, and a drive by UCLA's Zach Putluck is gloved by Danny Cockrell. 19:30 left.
Easy save for Cockrell. He saw it coming off the stick, watched it all the way into his glove. Good fundamentals, looking good for Danny.
Not a whole lot on that shot, but still good job by Cockrell to track it down. Now Trevor Schott goes the length of the ice and shoots it, but Gabe Elvin rather equal to it. Another shot there, long one from the point by Will Daniels is high and wide. Trevor Schott collects. Schott's been moving around a bunch in front of goal. Tried to put that one on net, but couldn't. And it's taken up by UCLA. Daniel Liu with it, and he was given a bit of a how do you do, and the puck ends up going towards Danny Cockrell, where it will be covered.
Trevor Schott usually in the past, especially last night, has been able to make some trouble for Gabe Elvin. And, any of the other attendees we've seen so far, he's able to dance with the puck. He's got good hands, got good speed, but he's coming up short today so far.
That one hit Nick Shabara, and for a moment nobody knew where it was. Eventually Patrick Scarlotta takes it across the red line and just hurls it behind the net. No change, though, from the Ducks, as they'll just go into the zone in pursuit, but UCLA is going to break out now. Tried to get it into the middle, did UCLA, but Oregon was able to intercept, and here comes Chris Campbell with the puck. Campbell has Nick Shabara behind him. And a shot off the post there with a rebound goal for the Ducks. Patrick Scarlatta got it started, and Nick Shabara put it home on the rebound, giving Oregon the 1-0 lead about a minute and a half into this second period of play, and immediately UCLA players will circle around the referee. I'm not sure what they were upset with there, to be entirely honest.
I didn't see it either, but I mean, you know, everything looked clean on that. I guess we'll see. Right place, right time for Nick Scarlatta. The only thing I could think of is maybe an elbowing by the Bruins, as I forgot who it was, went behind the net there, kind of got his head smashed into the boards a little bit. But I mean, these things will happen, Isaac.
Referee now discussing things with UCLA's David Giroux. And Giroux, I think, is saying he kicked it in. From the looks of it, he is moving his leg around and making some distinct kicking motions. So we didn't get a whole, a great angle on how that puck went in, except to say that it did go in. The goal is on the board, though, and despite the lobbying from Giroux, there's nothing taken off. So 1-0 Ducks. I believe that's probably what Giroux is looking at, and it sounds like the goal was given to Scarlatta. It certainly looked like a rebound to me, but maybe it was a UCLA skate then that it went off of, or
perhaps it's one of the times to flex one of our new features this year. Any of you guys watching out there, go ahead and scroll back into the timeline, kind of let us know in the feed here what you saw, what you might think happened there.
Certainly would be a good suggestion. We don't have the capability to roll it back up in the booth, but you've got a little more control than we do at home.
A nice DVR function this move to YouTube brings us, which is cool for us, cool for you guys.
Jake Yale digs in for the faceoff now, as Brock Burgess and Toller behind him on defense. Jesse Leonard and Zach Foss also on the ice for the Ducks. And it is Yale with it. Yale over to Foss. Foss tries to get it to the middle for Jesse Leonard. Couldn't get a clean shot on it, but the Ducks do keep possession. Wes Barnes now throws it up for UCLA, but only as far as Toller. Toller tried to find Brock Burgess, who was well covered. And that one thrown in would have been offside had the Ducks touched it. And UCLA with it now as they gain the zone. Ryan Smith with it. And a one-timer from Barnes. Knocks off of Cockrell, bounces away, taken up by the Ducks. Tipped by Jake Yale, and it's going to go all the way as far as Elvin, and UCLA has to settle behind the net. Good job by Jake Yale to get a stick on that. Caused the interception. And Yale still with it, fires wide, and where did that come from Jake Yale? Big hit thrown there after the nice play from Yale by Wes Barnes. And Barnes with it, that big body for the Bruins, tries to take it up the ice. He couldn't get out of the zone, though. And Cody Dries will go to get that one in the corner. He ran in hard to Jeremy Mao.
Definitely wasn't looking for the puck on that one.
And Joe Hoover had a little bit of an introduction to a Bruin there. Trying to take it through the zone and doing maybe a little bit too much was Christian Tabone. Tabone run into by Dries as someone's stick goes flying, and there comes a whistle, and there we go. That's probably going to be more than a roughing, I think.
Oh, they're going at it.
Some legs are flying there, and
off comes a helmet.
Well, that might be that's going to be the end of the night for at least one skater here.
And here he goes. Ref is pushing him out of the rink.
It's the closest thing to literally seeing a player get kicked off that I can recall. So done for the night is Jeremy Mao. Have to expect Joe Hoover as well.
Skating straight towards that door. Both of them ejected for tonight. Hard to tell if we're going to get just a disqualification for tonight, or if it's going to carry on into the next game. Something we'll have to see in between periods.
You know, I have to expect that Hoover's going to miss his next game, and that's going to be a big loss up in Seattle, not having Joe Hoover there. Cody Drees also taking a seat, so we'll see if what else is called on the play.
Definitely, you could see that one coming. Joe Hoover kind of caught up on the boards there. Cody Drees came in to assist. Lucky that only...
Is another UCLA Bruin leaving the ice now, or is he just getting gear off the ice?
Just getting his teammates' gear off the ice there. Lucky that more players aren't off the ice right now in the locker room. There were quite a few people in on that one. Joe Hoover is still not in the door quite yet. Not ready to get in there.
I think he may be waiting on his... may have been waiting on his stick of his own.
And possibly a glove, and reluctantly, there he goes. We'll go ahead and keep you guys updated with all the information we know from here. It's number 16, Jeremy Mao, back out of the locker room to yell at the ref some more from behind the glass. Mao not content to get
might be the one time we need our security guard that we've hired.
Yeah.
CMS, where are you? We need you.
How often do we say that one? And here he comes out of the nice heated area. Jeremy Mao, shirt off, looking full of testosterone. Possibly something we may have seen before on worldstarhiphop.com. Something brewing over here. And as you see...
is it brewing, Dylan?
It's brewing. Guess who is possibly antagonizing Jeremy Mao in the red Letterman's jacket? Right there behind the glass, we see our own Michael Luke.
He's so upset he's not playing today.
Oh, yeah.
You can tell from here.
Yeah, he would have been in on that one. And
linesman actually had to come off of the ice surface to get Mao back into the locker room. I think maybe the linesman has seen Michael Luke play before and saying, Jeremy, it's for your own good, man.
Michael Luke made a pretty large addition to himself over the offseason. It looked like somebody bolted Michael Luke from last year onto Michael Luke again.
And he was a big man last year.
He was a big man last year. I'm sure.
Well, we're still trying to get the penalties officially sorted out here. There's a lot to write on the score sheet. I've been in this position. It's your arm gets tired.
There were quite a few bodies left in that pile. Legs flying all over the place. Helmets coming off. Gloves and elbow pads littered the ice for a few minutes there. We knew this was going to happen coming into this game. With what happened after the game last night,
I think the only surprise, frankly, is who it involved.
That's true, you know.
And maybe the night is young. Maybe we shouldn't jinx anything there.
I remember when I first got into Ducks hockey a couple years ago. We traveled to Utah, and that had definitely a big rivalry there between, not so much a rivalry, but definitely some bad blood, heated heads during the game between Utah and Oregon. Had quite a few people in on a brawl on that one too. Probably the most active one I've seen rolling around the ice and such before the refs could finally break it up. That one was interesting.
Certainly some great Husky Duck skirmishes through the years, as captains are still discussing this one with the referee. We do see a 5-minute penalty on the board for Joe Hoover, so in the referee's eyes, this all stems from Joe Hoover's actions. At least that's what it looks like for now. It's going to be a 5-minute major.
Is Drees is no longer in the box. Is he out on the ice out there? I can't see him. Or did he join?
I didn't see him go for the room, but I don't see him on the bench unless he's right there behind Trevor Schott. No, that's Patrick Scarlatta.
You know, I don't see him out there. I don't see him out there. Maybe unless he's sitting down.
He may be seated, and I don't recall hearing it or seeing him leave the ice. We do have 4 Ducks and 5 Bruins on the ice. All this is going to eventually result only in a Duck penalty kill for 5 minutes, and how important is that major aspect of it too if UCLA can get going here?
Yeah, that's going to be tough for the Ducks. That definitely need to work there.
That's a nice save from Danny Cockrell. He saw that one the whole way.
Flashed the glove on that one. What a save.
And now coming across the ice is Sam Rosenberg, who's going to have to serve one of those penalties.
All smiles is Rosenberg.
It's 5 interrupted minutes of being in the game.
Yes.
So Rosenberg serving the penalty to Joe Hoover. Cody Dries also seems like he may have been removed from the game on the play.
I'm not seeing the number 17 out there at all.
Must have managed to sneak off when we watched Jeremy Mao almost come to blows with his street clothes wearing Michael Luke.
Was he wearing a shirt? I don't think he was on that one, Isaac.
UCLA still with the puck here on the power play. Over a minute gone on that 5-minute advantage so far. Just one real shot on goal to speak of for the Bruins. It comes all the way back to Barnes, who thought about the slap shot. Instead, he'll try to get it into the corner. Alex Selitzer ends up poking it back now to Barnes. It does come on a slap shot, and it bounces off the boards behind Danny Cockrell, thrown back behind the net by Nick Katzeroff of the Bruins. UCLA still with it, trying to set something up on the power play here. Ducks haven't really been able to clear at it until that point, with 3:20 left on the 5-minute major that's being served by Sam Rosenberg. Joe Hoover, the actual number on the board. Chris Stankovic collides with his man in the net there. And UCLA again with it behind the net. They'll just play it behind the net, try to set something up, but Chris Campbell gets the puck and will knock it off the boards for the clear here. Oregon gets a new group of penalty killers out there with 2:50 left in the power play. And a penalty there against UCLA. So that's going to negate the next 2 minutes of this big major. That's going to be a big moment there, as UCLA had a real chance. And number 19 for UCLA, we're being told, is Tristan Chester. So I have Ryan Smith on my roster, and Tristan Chester is supposed to be number 71, but I can only go off of the official roster on the team's website.
Thank you for calling in, letting us know that. A bit of a quicker route, actually. On the right-hand side of your screen, you should see a chat box that you can go ahead and throw anything you want us to know. Go ahead and put that in there, and we'll be able to see it right away.
And another thanks, because that means you haven't muted us yet. So
yeah,
we're really pushing new ground here. 13:42 left in the second period of play. Back to 4-on-4 as that one deflects off of Danny Cockrell. Manages not to hit the netting, just a high part of the glass there. So no whistle on the play as Trevor McCarty tries to race for it. But UCLA takes it, and that one is going to be gloved by Danny Cockrell. .27 left in this second period. 2:03 left on the penalty being served by Rosenberg. 1:25 left on the penalty to Kevin Leistad of UCLA. Don't allow yourself, if you happen to see the scoreboard when the camera pans by, the 15 on the board is not the number 15 in the Ducks box. Adds a little bit of layer of confusion there. Shot there from the point by Taron Donnelly, didn't get all the way through. Oregon trying to still set something up here, maybe add to that 1-0 lead. A kick of the puck there from Taron Donnelly forces UCLA to set up behind their own net. Tabone with it for UCLA. Flips it back to a defenseman and now back to Tabone. He still has it. But eventually taken by Trevor Schott, and Schott had the puck pickpocketed from him, but Chris Stankovic is there to keep it in the Bruin zone.
Great forecheck. Dangerous to commit Chris Stankovic on that one. There he goes and gets back on D finally. They had one man back. That would have been tough.
And Taron Donnelly moves it for Schott. Now back to Donnelly. Donnelly thinks about getting it to Selitzer. Eventually does. Selitzer back to the middle, but Schott couldn't get a clean whack at it. Need to find a better way of referring to Trevor Schott and his shooting. Bit of a tongue twister there. Back behind the net, the Ducks have it. And behind their own net, Oregon is still with it. Bruins out of the penalty box. It's Kevin Lystad back on the ice. 30 seconds left or so on the penalty that Sam Rosenberg is serving. And that one cleared all the way down the length of the ice. 25 seconds left on the major power play. Broken through for UCLA. There's Shao with it. Shao still with it. Goes all the way behind the net. Tried to go for the pass then, but it hit a duck. Still with it is UCLA. It's Wes Barnes. Barnes back to his fellow defenseman. That one interrupted, cleared by Jake Yale, and Sam Rosenberg gets close enough to that he'll win the race, and I think the goaltender thought it was going to be icing. Rosenberg was able to get to it. Good alertness by him out of the box.
Boy, how lucky is Gabe Elvin to get a stick on that? If Sammy Rosenberg would have got that, he would have been all alone with a nice chance.
Good job by Rosenberg really to pay attention there. I'm sure the drawn-up play was that he leaves the penalty box and goes straight back for the bench, but the puck was just right there for him. Great place, right place, right time.
Oh,
Jesse Leonard now into the zone with the Ducks. Jake Yale with a nice pass for Campbell, and he scores! Good team play from the Ducks there. Oh no, I believe the referee might be waving that one off. He seemed to be doing some kind of waving motion. Well, now he's pointing at center ice. And it does look like he will give the goal. I'm not sure what he was doing because he was definitely moving his arms in what looked like he was waving, but then he points to center ice. Nothing that looked like it would have been off with that goal. Chris Campbell took the feed from Jesse Leonard and just put it off the back netting.
Boy, that's one of those ones you could see what was unfolding as it was going, and I just had to let it happen to my eyes. And the puck went into the back of the net. Great shot, great play, passing, crisp, perfect.
On that play, there was no goal, and players in the crease. No goal.
Well, and there you have it. Player in the crease, no goal. Certainly wasn't Campbell that was in the crease, but referees saying that affected the goal or affected the play enough, he'll wipe it off, and the faceoff stays in the neutral zone. So take it off the board. Still 1-0, and if UCLA can get a goal right here, would have been a major shift in the last 30 seconds. Instead, though, Oregon takes it through. Nick Shabara, one-timer! And that one goes well high, rather. Taken by Campbell on the high bounce and eventually stuffed into the pads of Gabe Elvin, and some more coming together in front of him. Crease violation, though. How often do you see that one called?
Not very often. He must have known exactly what was going on. Otherwise, I don't see them call that too often.
Well, Jake Yale will take the face-off there. Won by UCLA. Nick Vossler took it, and it's back with the Ducks now. Back to Jake Yale. Yale with Foss had the one-timer to think about it, but instead it's going to be taken by UCLA. Now Chris Stankovic is going to have to rush to get through it, and Brock Burgess collects the puck. Burgess tried to find Foss. Oh, and a big hit thrown from Brock Burgess, but it's going to cost him 2 minutes. And then right up in his grill after that was Daniel Liu, who may have bought himself some penalty time as well.
Definitely instigated by UCLA. I don't see how a Bruin couldn't be in the box right now.
Well, right now it's Burgess and only Burgess for elbowing.
I don't know about that. I think that is 100% the wrong call. If you go ahead and look back,
I mean, there was an elbow by Brock Burgess. There was a big hit thrown it with the hands came up a little bit high.
He
I
was coming in.
I think that the video would probably back up the officiating on that one. It didn't look entirely clean live, but then right after that play, Daniel Liu gave him a kind of a shove in the face, and that was really what turned that play into a big extracurricular activity, but there's nothing else called. So often we talk about only the retaliation being called, the exact opposite there. So Ducks killing a penalty to Burgess, but they'll look to break out here. Maybe a 2-on-1 if it developed exactly right, almost there for Stolitzer and McCarty. Something to watch for the rest of the power play perhaps, as UCLA tries to set up with the extra man. Cameron Green had it there, back for Shao. And now back to Green. Green has Wes Barnes at the point. He'll go to the other D-man. And a shot there goes wide. All the way back to Barnes. UCLA still trying to set up here as they'll try and work it to their own point men. Barnes with the slow shot from the point. Did get through to Cockrell, but he was equal to it. And there's Trevor McCarty with it. Here's McCarty and Stolitzer on the 2-on-1, but McCarty misplayed it right into a Bruin skater there. .40 seconds left on the power play. 8:25 left in the second period of play. Remember, just 1-0 is that second goal knocked off the board due to a crease violation. And Chris Stankovic will get there and clear that puck. Nick Shabara will be the first to it if Gabe Elvin doesn't play it, but he does. Great awareness, goes all the way back into the neutral zone. And now Stankovic is going to have to go behind his own net again. Turns around and will buy himself a lot more space, enough to clear. And once again, it's played by Elvin behind his own net. Nick Shabara trying to take a couple of whacks at the stick of UCLA's Nick Katsaroff there. Katsaroff, though, retains possession, goes all the way into the corner where he's hit by Chris Campbell, and now both teams just digging at some skates there, trying to get control of the puck. Wes Barnes does get it and eventually got the shot for Daniel Liu. Worked into a good shooting position, but Liu hit it just wide. And Oregon now back to even strength. That one will be icing, but well, Chris Campbell wasn't skating for that one particularly hard. He would have been the first one to it, but the referee is not going to reward him for skating that lackadaisically, and they will go with the icing there.
Bruins have been looking good. That possession by Katsaroff took it the length of the ice to get it into the Ducks zone, and really, with all that contact from Nick Scabara, just kept the puck and kept it all the way in, was able to get something into the Ducks zone and get an offensive possession.
Face-off controlled by UCLA, but not for long, and back to Oregon, who knock it the length of the ice. This time, no icing. So the Bruins will try and start up the opposite direction. Tough real estate there. Finally, UCLA gets through the neutral zone and now into the attacking zone. Zach Putluck with it for the Bruins, but he'll lose the puck, and Brock Burgess takes it now. Burgess tries to find Jake Yale. It's there for Zach Foss as well. And now Vossler for UCLA. Back to the Ducks at the point. Now here's a good chance for the Bruins. Good job there by Nate Birch to corral the puck and dangle it around that stick that ended up on the ice there. Now Jake Yale with it. Yale fires it just over the cage, and it bounces back behind the boards. Back for Jake Yale. So Yale tried to find Foss there, but he couldn't connect with them. And that one would have been offside, so Oregon will get the free touch here. It's Darren Toller with it. Toller back for Donnelly. And Donnelly to Jesse Leonard for Trevor McCarty. Here comes McCarty. McCarty tried the little last moment backhand there. Pretty clever shot, but he didn't get quite enough on it. Taryn Donnelly takes it backwards in the neutral zone. And now Trevor Schott with the shots. Got McCarty. Shot puts it just wide. And Trevor McCarty now tried to play it back around his back for Schott, but he didn't know it was coming. Taken by UCLA. Now back for Chris Campbell, or Selitzer rather, but he put it high and wide. And UCLA trying to get the half clear, but still out in front for the Ducks. It's Selitzer. Selitzer couldn't get a shot to happen there. Trevor McCarty now, and finally UCLA will almost get it out of the zone. Now I think they will, and in fact they do. It's Daniel Liu and the number 10, Christian Tabone, gaining the zone for UCLA. 4:55 left in the second period of play. Oregon clinging to that 1-0 lead. They tried to double it earlier, but goal wiped off on a crease violation.
Taryn Donnelly snapped his stick in half on that slap shot. Tried that one-timer. He's skating without a stick.
And more nice skating from Trevor Schott. Tried to find Chris Campbell on the one-timer there, but it didn't quite develop that way. And I think the puck might be stuck in somebody's...
I was going to talk about this earlier. We saw that one time before against SDSU, I think it was. Maybe it was PSU. Puck went up into the pads of a player, and no one knew where it was.
Did they keep playing?
They kept playing.
There's like 30 seconds left in the game, right?
Yeah, they kept playing, didn't get off the ice, which was interesting.
Pretty dumb decision when you think about it.
Yeah.
When taken off the faceoff by UCLA, immediately a shot from Cameron Green from just south of the blue line. Now the puck stuck on the boards, finally taken off by Green. Green, ooh, and that one was not a pretty looking shot, but it still managed to almost beat Cockrell. Vossler put it wide, delayed penalty coming up against the Ducks. So UCLA going to get their goaltender to the bench, but touched up by Nick Shabara. Penalty coming for the Ducks. We'll see who goes to the bench. It looks like it might be Shabara, or he's just losing some stick tape. Will Daniels comes to visit, charging the call.
Huh.
Indeed.
I didn't quite see enough room for a charge there, but that's why I'm not a ref, Isaac.
One of many reasons.
One of many reasons. Skating ability, eyesight.
Might be the second one.
Yeah, there's a list.
So the Ducks to the penalty kill. UCLA back to the power play. Good stick there.
Great poke
from
to get
Trevor
it out of
Schott.
the zone.
That'll be a free clear. Wes Barnes with it, trying to set something up. We've seen Barnes do a lot more hockey playing tonight than we did last night.
A little quieter than last night. It's been more his teammates that have been taking the brunt of the penalty minutes.
Oh, and another big collision there behind the net involving Brock Burgess. That one for Barnes. Barnes in a good shooting position. He didn't beat Danny Cockrell, but the rebound came right to a UCLA Bruin, and it's Daniel Liu with his second goal of the series to tie this one up on the power play. Credit really goes to Wes Barnes on the shoot assist there. Sort of trickled by Cockrell, but there to do the rest and knock it home in front of the empty net was Daniel Liu. To be fair, I think we saw UCLA miss a similar chance last night, but no miss this time, and it's 1-1 thanks to the power play goal from Liu. 3:20 left in the second period. Don't go anywhere in the intermission, folks.
That's tough. Great awareness by Danny Liu, though, to get that in the net. Wide open on the right side. He served up on a silver platter for him.
The goal for the Bruins, number 12, Daniel Liu. The assist on the play, number 15, Kevin Lundstedt. And number 10, Christian Tabone.
Up the ice for the Ducks now. So that one almost goes into the Duck bench. Taryn Donnelly tried to flip it forward for Jake Yale. It went past him, but the Ducks will get there first, avoid the icing call. Now back to Donnelly. Donnelly! And almost deflected by Zach Foss. Good job to be in the good position there. It'll be thrown the length of the ice, and that will be icing, yes indeed, against UCLA. Always a wonder, though, on these hybrid icing calls, what's going to happen.
I've tried to Google it before, still don't have quite the grasp on it yet.
I don't think most officials do either.
Maybe someday. Something to aspire to, I suppose, as well as that bear paw call.
I like bear clawing, though. I think that if that's not an infraction, it should be.
Yeah.
Loose in front, and Will Daniels now will take it, and another penalty coming up, maybe another bear clawing infraction.
High sticking.
This time it's a high sticking. That one we know. We know most things up here.
See, last time he motioned for a high stick, though, that same judge, it was a roughing call. So maybe let's see. Nope, he sticks with the high sticking. Apparently he was more sure of himself than last time.
Face-off will come all the way in front of Danny Cockrell, as it tends to do. Trevor Schott takes the seat for 2 minutes.
No one to accompany him to get riled up in the accompanying UCLA booth.
Oh, no one yet. No one yet, Dylan. There will be someone. More likely than not. Ooh, good job from Cockrell there to just grab that one as it was about to slide by him.
Great cover.
Fans starting to get a little riled up with some of these calls.
It's always good to see. Always good to see people in the home rink get into the game. Oh.
Believe that's Jeremy Mao standing by the UCLA locker room door. Still looks to be yelling at someone.
Yep. Motioning to a duck, I suppose, on the other side.
Almost going after Ollie.
Yeah,
it's not the right guy.
No.
I suppose we'll have to be careful if we walk by there.
I feel like I could, I'm a pretty big guy, Isaac.
UCLA now on the power play. Brandon Shao with it, and Shao knocked it to a teammate, then straight back to Shao. Now it's Cameron Green with it, but back to Shao.
And there is Cody Dries on the other side. The recipient, I think, of Jeremy Mao's.
Oh, loose puck in front. This could be dangerous as Cockrell tries to get over there. It's still loose in front. Now it's in the net.
Nope.
Although I think by that very same call has to be coming here.
They've got to wave that one off. From what he was motioning.
Goal for the Bruins.
Well, Trevor Schott did leave the penalty box. If you're going to call a crease violation earlier, you've got to call something there.
There was a lot of people in that
crease violation or goaltender interference, getting practically sitting on top of Danny Cockrell. Looks like that faceoff is staying at center ice, though, Dylan. 2-1 UCLA on the power play goal, question mark?
Quite interesting, Isaac. Quite interesting.
Well, I suppose it really doesn't matter how interesting it is. It matters how much it counts. 2-1, and it does indeed count. 1 minute left in the second period of play. That really changes things going into the intermission. That's a large hit thrown by Patrick Scarlotta.
That might have been a bit of a cross-check.
Who are we to judge, except for all of the judging that we do?
Yep. That's pretty much what we're here for, Isaac.
And now Mike Luke is back in front of the Duck locker room door. He seems to be enjoying the yelling. Offside called on that play.
Michael Luke's second calling, I suppose, is getting people riled up and getting riled up himself.
We do now have our one security officer between the two locker rooms, so nothing's gonna go wrong, guys. We've got our one CMS officer here. .30 seconds left in the second period of play. 2-1 the score for UCLA, not without controversy in this period. And a touch for Pat Taylor, now back for Jesse Leonard, who tried to backhand that pass for Jake Yale. That would have been pretty nifty. Yale, though, knocked down in front by Tabone.
interesting route he chose to get around the goalie there. Probably.
Oh, Jesse Leonard almost with a deflection on goal there. And another shot there right at the buzzer, maybe even a half a second after the buzzer. Certainly hit the tender after the buzzer. 2-1 the score after 40 minutes of play. We're going to take a break here, and we should join you for some intermission thoughts in a few moments. Hello again, everybody. 2-1 your score after 40 minutes of play. UCLA just did sneak ahead toward the end of that second period there, and we had a chance to go down and chat with the folks in the scorers booth, add something interesting to those skirmishes. We had Joe Hoover got not one but two DQs on the same play, and that very well might mean that he is entirely out of that I-5 Cup Series if that does end up being the case. That's a large loss.
That's what was implied so far. That's the info we have. It's really hard to say right now. I guess the second DQ, well, one for fighting, the second DQ was intent to injure?
For throwing his helmet. From what they tell me down there.
Yes.
I mean, I guess it's one of those things. It must just be an automatic in the rules.
Yeah.
I suppose there's probably not a whole lot of black and white for it, but it's one of those calls that is a fan or as a player you kind of shrug, you kind of roll your eyes at, because
must be removal of the helmet.
Probably taking that helmet off is what did him in. Although it seemed like there were UCLA players that maybe took their helmet off, so maybe there was some moving of Joe Hoover's helmet into the direction of a UCLA Bruin or something like that.
Probably.
At least that the referees were able to catch. Scoring-wise, controversial period as well. Oregon nearly took the lead earlier on a goal that was wiped off due to a crease violation, and then UCLA made it 2-1 after putting the puck home after it was just seemingly stuck in the crease, and there were bodies lying everywhere. Denny Cockrell was, I think, somewhere up in the neutral zone, just through no fault of his own, just couldn't get back to his own crease, and it was pretty easy finish for UCLA, really on both of their goals tonight. Have been plays where the puck, through no fault necessarily of Denny Cockrell, has ended up behind him, and it's just been easy tap-ins for UCLA, but however they get in there, it doesn't really matter. It's whether, two snipes or two kind of ugly or dirtier goals like that, they still count. Yeah. And it's 2-1 Oregon, or UCLA lead rather, after two periods.
Just from Danny, every other time you're going to say that, it's a great save. He came out, maybe I didn't really see how far he was out, but, to those people maybe saying that he did come out a little too far, every single time he makes that save, you're going to say it's a good save. And, the one time it goes wrong, or the two times rather it goes wrong, obviously, you could see some people blaming him for that, but I think that not at all, not his fault. He's been playing a great game. I think it's just luck of the draw as it goes for the Bruins.
Absolutely. Well, we still got a couple of minutes before the third period starts, so we're going to take one last break, leave you with the official Oregon Duck Hockey broadcast theme song. A big thank you again to Tanner Ferris for putting that together in the off-season. Dylan and I are going to shut our mics off here before the game gets back. Well, 20 minutes left on the clock in this one, and we've got a whole lot of hockey to sort out here as Oregon trails 2-1 after a come-from-behind win yesterday. So they're not unfamiliar position starting the third period against UCLA, down by 1 goal, and we'll see if they can get a quick equalizer here the way they did yesterday. Solitzer with the puck now for the Ducks, and he'll knock it back to McCarty. 30 seconds into this third period, no penalties called. I believe that may set a record for this game.
Yeah.
And Will Daniels has to chase this one all the way down, now back for Chris Stankovic. Stankovic, who's likely going to see a lot of minutes up in Seattle with Joe Hoover not playing, also going to put a lot of pressure on Will Daniels. And now back Stankovic to Daniels. They have been a good D pair together, both last night and tonight in the time since we've seen Joe Hoover head to the locker room. UCLA, though, trying to maybe do something offensively here, add to that 1-goal lead. I think that was really their undoing yesterday. We've talked about it already several times, just complacency in the third period. That shot from a long way out from Nick Vossler made Danny Cockrell think, but it ended up going well wide. And another shot there now from Brandon Shaw right towards Danny Cockrell, and he will collect it.
And speaking to the complacency, that's something easy UCLA can still fall into. We saw them yesterday, like you mentioned, really own the second period, and I think they did that again tonight. However, it's just the beginning of the third. We can see them slip off, and maybe they just gave a little bit too much in the second period like last night. Maybe they're tired. We'll see.
Puck goes behind the Duck net, and Brock Burgess will have to knock it forward for Foss. Foss tries to find Jake Yale, and Yale couldn't knock it down. It's taken away by UCLA, but they threw it forward too quickly, had to go back onside. And Taron Donnelly was able to get it for the Ducks. Now back to Brock Burgess, and flipped back in the direction of Donnelly. And Donnelly now back for Burgess. Burgess over to Foss, and Foss tries to move it up forward for Yale. Couldn't control it. Puck hit a linesman's skate. And now back up through the neutral zone. It's UCLA. Hard slap shot, but it didn't get farther than the stick of Taron Donnelly, and it broke it in half.
Oh, yeah. That's 2 for Taron Donnelly now.
I was going to say, yeah, that's an expensive night for Taron.
That's rough. Tough to handle. You see Danny Cockrell not in your sights, but saw him come out of the crease to clear that out of his way. Definitely don't want anything obstructing his view of the puck.
He's had a frustrating enough night tonight. You'd hate to see that one of those circumstances happen where he sees a puck well and it just bounces off of some debris. So good to get that out of the... Puck now pinned against the boards. Finally it comes out there, and McCarty with it. He fires a shot that was saved, forced a rebound, and McCarty able to collect it off of his own shooting opportunity. One-timer shot there from Trevor Schott was knocked down, and UCLA will collect. Still unable to really clear the puck, and that one off the boards and up and out of play.
For anybody out there, we did have a slight hiccup in our broadcast. Unfortunately, knocked the Ethernet cable out there for a quick second, but we are back. Nice to hear from all of you.
As some more interesting musical choices tonight, I don't think I've heard Remember the Name in solid 5 years.
It's
been a while.
It's been more than that for me, probably middle school.
Meanwhile, puck trickles all the way back. Chris Stankovic will pick it up and get it. Stankovic finds Scarlatta, but Scarlatta couldn't find the puck. And a rip from Wes Barnes there from inside his own zone. Still managed to get through to Cockrell, but he wasn't going to let that beat him. Nick Shabara now into the Bruin zone. Puck comes for Taron Donnelly. Donnelly will rip it through, and that one goes wide. Bunch of bodies go flying in front. Chris Campbell, who had the goal, Ducks goal that was knocked off the board with a touch there. Delayed call coming up against the Bruins, and there is the whistle. Cross-checking the call.
You know, seeing Taryn out there, you got to wonder. I don't think he came with 3 sticks today.
Yeah, and if
Maybe he's borrowing one out there.
If teammates are going to, if you're going to let someone borrow your stick when they've already broken 2 in a game, those things are expensive, man.
They are. Not in my category, but real sticks. They are.
I'll let everybody guess who took the penalty for UCLA. If you guessed anybody other than Wes Barnes, you're wrong.
I think that's the first time we've seen him in there since the first period, actually.
Yeah, he's been behaving himself tonight, not behaving themselves, though. The Duck power play unit icing the puck there, and certainly one of the cardinal sins of hockey. We've managed to find some reason to talk about it at least once a game at this level.
That will happen from time to time.
.15:07 left in the third period. Oregon needing to get back tied up here. Trevor Schott trying to do just that with a long pass for Alex Sulitzer. Sulitzer behind the net as the crowd starts to make a little bit of noise here. Sulitzer still with it, now back to Brock Burgess. Burgess back to Daniels. It flipped over his stick blade back to Trevor McCarty. McCarty back to Daniels. Daniels fires it on through, and Gabe Elvin didn't see it until it was hitting him in the chest.
Took him right in the chest protector. You gotta love that. That's good quality, family, wholesome entertainment.
Wholesome family hockey jargon and other words.
Words, Isaac. It's a bold strategy. Let's see if it pays off for him.
Minute 15 left on the penalty to number 51, Wes Barnes. 14:30 left in this game. Oregon down by 1 here, although certainly not out of reach for the Ducks as Sulitzer with it behind the net. Looked for McCarty, ended up getting towards Donnelly, and Donnelly now back to Sulitzer. Sulitzer, one-timer, Trevor Schott scores! So there's the power play goal, and I don't think that one's getting waved off anytime soon.
And there it is, the man who's been denied all night, not used to it, finally finds a way to make himself heard. 2-2 here at the Rink Exchange.
And it has been a big weekend for Trevor Schott, involved, of course, in all the physicality yesterday, but also involved in the scoring yesterday and involved in the scoring once again tonight with a big third period power play goal there. Credit as well, absolutely, to Alex Sulitzer on the great pass in front, and all Schott needed to do was not miss the puck. Patrick Scarlotta now for the Ducks. Throws it towards goal, hit a couple of sticks on it, deflected on its way through. And UCLA now tries to start up the ice in this tie game. Nick Shabara with it, and Shabara tried to knock it back for Campbell. Instead taken by UCLA, and now Taryn Donnelly is going to have to give chase as it rolls toward Danny Cockrell. Played by Donnelly. And now Scarlotta with it in the neutral zone. He gets it to Chris Campbell there. Campbell hounded on the play by Zach Putluck, couldn't do anything with it. Will Daniels will win the race to that one. Daniels had Patrick Scarlotta in the middle. Instead, he fired it himself, and it was deflected up and out of play. .14 left in this third period of play. Trevor Schott with a big third period goal to tie this game up. And a similar start really to the third period for Oregon than it was last night. Start down a goal, get that fairly early third period goal, and we'll see what happens with the rest of the game. The music's still going for a moment there, but we're back playing hockey. Brock Burgess knocked that one through, would have been offside, but the Ducks were able to touch up, and then it hit off the netting anyway. 12:59 left. Ooh, indeed, Dylan.
Bit of a mix-up.
Ooh, and even more oof. This time, a bit more of a solid contact on that one from Wes Barnes. Brock Burgess on the receiving end. Pat Taylor throwing a bit of his weight around. Jesse Leonard takes it back behind the net. Leonard still with it, but it's poked away by a Bruin. And now back to Jake Yale. Yale's looked pretty strong in these games. Jesse Leonard tried the cross ice pass there. Didn't get towards anyone in particular, but the Ducks are able to retain possession. Taron Donnelly chased it down.
Great center pass from Jake Yale. Donnelly just couldn't get his stick all the way on the puck.
Oh, Daniels actually, not Donnelly.
Daniels.
My mistake there, Dylan. Leading you down the wrong path as that one goes most of the length of the ice, but no icing.
Dylan do, Isaac.
Dylan taken forward. Dylan everywhere. Forward by UCLA, and Alex Soliter eventually gets it for the Ducks up to Trevor McCarty, and when McCarty's got the puck, the Ducks can break out. Pat Taylor, I think, you think he wanted it there?
You know, I think he definitely wanted it there. He saw an open lane.
Oh, and Trevor's shot just fanned on one there. That was a good position to be in. And, oh, Taron Donnelly just by doing absolutely nothing at all, just getting in the way of Daniel Liu there, sent him flying.
That was a great hip check. Got right into him, and boy, de-skating hit. Those are always fun to see.
Trevor McCarty almost got to that. Donnelly does, and it got through, but it was knocked down by a Bruin stick before it got to Gabe Elvin. And now all the way back for Donnelly. Donnelly to Shot. Shot tried to dance around a man, almost put on a nice show. Instead, it came forward for Soliter and then back behind the net. Still behind the net as the teams will battle for it. Shot going to try and get there first. Taron Donnelly does a good job to keep it in and then just chips it in the direction of the UCLA goal, and Gabe Elvin will say that's enough of that.
You know, that puck had an interesting flight pattern. Interestingly enough, Gabe Elvin made easy work of it, but it could have easily went tumbling right out of his glove back into play.
Well, how many times have we seen those kind of soft goals from the point, from the red line, from past the red line, where goaltender is in the right position and it just manages to take a weird flight or a weird bounce. Always is my fear. Having played a little bit of street hockey goalie, I gave up one or two of those.
Back in your prime.
Had some potholes to worry about on that rink, not quite the same surface. Chris Campbell with it for the Ducks. Campbell tries to get some space there and just threw it wide, but it was well wide of the cage. Nick Shabara's crunched into the boards there. Chris Campbell now with it and back for Shabara. Chris Stankovic with a drive that goes wide. All the way to Will Daniels is the long rebound, and now around for Patrick Scarlatta, who's run into the boards there. Shabara trying to get something going there, but just a lot of stick-on-stick action there as Patrick Scarlatta is going to give chase to it. Throws it in front, rebound, goal for Nick Shabara. That's a large goal for the Ducks.
Oh, boy.
Does this seem familiar, Dylan?
This is last night verbatim. 2 unanswered goals for the Ducks in the third period. UCLA has got to get back in this game. I don't know where their heads are at right now, but that was a long offensive possession for the Ducks. They handled that start to finish.
UCLA just kind of skating around in circles now, some long exhales.
As well they should. That's disheartening, not just a goal, but could be the end of the night.
A lot of puck left in this one, though. We shall see what happens. It's a good job there from Shao to knock it down. Ducks still just trying to work for everything here. There's Katsaroff with it, and a nice kick save made by Danny Cockrell. And the Ducks try to go back the length of the ice the other way, but UCLA gets possession. Katsaroff again trying to do everything himself. And Jesse Leonard with it now for the Ducks, has some space, gains the zone, fires it around the boards, and Pat Taylor's going to go give pursuit and throw. A nice check there it is, Taylor. Jesse Leonard involved in the play as well, and it now goes backwards to Will Daniels on defense. Daniels forward for Jesse Leonard, who got just enough of a touch on it to avoid the icing, and the Ducks get the opportunity to change. Offside would have been called there, but the Ducks able to get back onside, and they'll have to do the same here. Good job by Trevor Schott there to wait until his teammates were onside before he crossed the line. And UCLA with the puck now. Good job by the linesman of avoiding contact with the puck there. And it's right back in his grill again. Is Trevor Schott working with Katsaroff. Schott gonna be called for a penalty there on Nick Katsaroff. It looked like it was the free hand. And Gabe Elvin ran into a teammate on his way to the bench, but UCLA does have 6 out there now. Referee skating around with the delayed penalty arm up. And there's the touch from Alex Seltzer. And indeed, the holding on the free arm. Trevor Schott kind of tried a little bit of that swim move there. And we'll have 2 minutes to think about his actions.
You got to give it to Giroux. He got in there. That's a 40-year guy's move right there. Get right in front of him, an old professional there. Get right in front of him, make him take that penalty. Way to corral.
Well, and I think if you're a Bruin fan, you got to put a lot of you got to like this position that you're in now. I mean, sure, you're down a goal, but you get the power play opportunity. And how many goals has UCLA scored here? Both of UCLA's goals scored tonight had to do with getting guys just in the right position at the right time. Obviously, it's that much easier to do that when you're on the power play. And
it's something we've seen the Ducks kind of struggle with a little bit throughout the season. They'll be doing good into the third period, and then, right at the wrong time, it seems like a penalty just seems to happen, and now they're skating down a man, definitely not where they want to be.
Bruins with it at the point. They go point to point. Katsaroff tries to get it by Cockrell there, but Danny's equal to that one. And another shot from UCLA will get in front of Cockrell, and Nick Shabara does not like how close UCLA's number 15, Kevin Lystad, got to Danny Cockrell there, and he let him know it. I don't appreciate that, Kevin. I'm sure is exactly what Nick said with no additional words.
Not at all, no. Keep it G-rated. Great cover by Danny Cockrell.
7:18 left in this one. Oregon clings to that 3-2 lead as they've come back in the third period for the second night in a row. But a lot of hockey left to write the script in this one.
Great clear there.
And Pat Taylor going to give a little bit of pressure here. Force UCLA to do whatever they're going to do quickly, moving in their own zone on the power play. And now Katsaroff with it for the Bruins. He gets the zone and fires it through, and Will Daniels will try and get his stick to it first. Eventually Pat Taylor touches, and now Jake Yale in pursuit in the neutral zone. Back to Daniels, and Oregon almost clears, but only as far as the neutral zone. Puck still free there, and now eventually it does roll back to Daniels, and this time the clear will go the full length of the ice. Jake Yale again in pursuit of Katsaroff, but Katsaroff has the speed edge there. Going through the ice there, it's Cameron Green with it. Green tried to find either Shao or Giroux in front, but the deflection never happened, and the shot comes in from the side that time by about the face-off circle, and Danny Cockrell is right there. If you are in Eugene and you can make it to the rink in the next 6:18, Oregon is hosting Skate with the Ducks after the game tonight.
Also sure to be an exciting finish to this game.
So lots to watch, lots to do. Another another drive from the point there by UCLA, and Cockrell, I'm sure, getting tired of the same thing here, just covering up in another faceoff. 6:10 left in the game. 21 seconds left on the penalty to Trevor Schott. Was a holding call against number 20 for Oregon. Oh, in a dangerous position to be shooting from there for UCLA.
Great.
And Danny Cockrell just says no.
Great cover. 12 seconds left in this power play. You want him to clear it on this. Send it the length of the ice. Take some seconds off of that penalty clock. Get another man out there.
Well, and we saw earlier the Ducks had Sam Rosenberg jump out of the box practically on a breakaway. Oh, a great chance there for UCLA, but they couldn't quite control it cleanly. That was Daniel Liu, who has scored 2 goals already in this series, and he had another one on the doorstep there. Just couldn't quite get everything to work the way he wanted to.
Man, Daniel Liu throughout this entire stead here has been looking really good. You know, he's been in almost every play. He's been really intense offensively.
Trevor shots out of the box, and he's going to go right for that puck. And he has Trevor McCarty, so this could amount to a lot here. Shot still with it is Trevor's shot, and he's just saved by Gabe Elvin. But a great effort there right out of the penalty box from the Duck rookie. Still up the ice with it go the Bruins. Daniel Liu tries to break out. Eventually it's Nick Katsaroff that's going to chase it down, but Brock Burgess got there and was able to knock it to Taron Donnelly, who fires a cross-ice pass in the direction of Alex Solitzer. Solitzer, though, will lose the puck, and it's taken by UCLA. 5:10 left in this game, 3-2 the score. Flipped up ice there, and Taron Donnelly's going to take it for the Ducks. Tried to knock it off the boards for Trevor McCarty, but it was a little too far in front of him, and now it's UCLA. Tabone moving forward for the Bruins, and Tabone run into is going to skate started kind of gingerly to the bench, and now Nick Shabara with it, and Shabara is going to go all the way back. Tries to find shot, and he couldn't quite control it. All the way the length of the ice, icing waved it off, so Darren Toller will go and chase it down. And now up forward for Shabara. Shabara gets around his man. He has Patrick Scarlotta. And the pass intercepted there by Elvin, who's just going to stop that before it starts. 4:19 left in this third period of play. 3-2 still to score. Oregon leads, but they did not lead going into this third period, and it's the second night in a row that the Ducks have had a comeback in the third period, although this script is not done being written yet as Oregon has it behind the net. All the way to Toller with a one-timer, puck loose in front. Rebound, score for Patrick Scarlotta, and he goes right in to the Oregon sitting players section there in front of the goal. 4-2 the score. Big rebound goal from Scarlotta there.
And that's the icing on the cake. Patrick Scarlotta, right place, right time.
4:06 left as he scores that goal, so make it 15:54 of the third period if my math is right, and of course it probably isn't, but I think it is there though. I think I got that one.
Very close.
We're waiting on the Nobel laureates to confirm.
We got to see if UCLA will come back here and answer to that goal. If they can, they might have a shot at tying this up before the end of the third.
Well, a 2-goal lead, as has been said on any hockey broadcast where one team has ever led by 2, is the worst lead in hockey. Here's Jake Yale, though, for Pat Taylor! Just wide, and the Ducks had a chance to make it a 3-goal lead and end that whole 2-goal lead drama right there.
Great job by Elvin to shut the door on him.
And then a nice hit thrown by Brendan Shaw on Chris Stankovic, and more contact from UCLA as they're still trying to break one through here. Stankovic with it, he looks up ice, it's tipped forward by Jesse Leonard. But now back through for UCLA through the neutral zone. Kept in there by Lystad. And Stankovic with it for the Ducks for Jesse Leonard. 2:55 left, and that one will be icing 2-5-3, it reads on the clock. 4-2 in the goal column, with Oregon having the 2-goal advantage. 3 of those goals for the Ducks coming in this third period.
Not entirely sure why it says 4-3 on the broadcast. It's meant to say 4-2, and it should be correct now.
And it's back.
There we go. Some low
Face-off
weight.
won by UCLA, and a whistle. And they're moving the face-off somewhere.
To the neutral zone. Did it go out of the glass?
It must have, and UCLA will take a timeout here. Their first and only.
You know, I don't think I've heard Lil Wayne since the summer of 2007. It's been quite a while.
It's been that kind of night musically.
Yeah, Ty Anderton definitely has some kind of early 2000s.
Did he steal my laptop from 8th grade?
Yeah. This is my iTunes library from freshman year. High school freshman year.
I suppose there are multiple of those at this point. 2:49 left officially in this game. 4-2 the score. Haven't seen Jeremy Mao venture out of the locker room and chirp at Michael Luke in a while.
No, it's been probably since the end of the second period. Michael Luke not one to shy away from any flapping of the lips. Definitely found a partner. Yeah, I mean, what more can you say? He's definitely happy to do so.
Yeah, indeed, Dylan.
Things and words that make sentences.
Things and sentences that form paragraphs. Face-off does move out to the neutral zone. Selitzer got to it, but UCLA able to get possession. That one from Katsaroff, driven all the way through. Trevor Schott just takes a whack at it there. Alex Solitzer's got a lot of skating to do if he doesn't want that called icing, and the puck wouldn't have gotten there anyway. Solitzer does make the pass to Trevor McCarty, but he couldn't put the backhand home.
Do have that open net down there, so.
Indeed, the open net, and much earlier tonight than we saw it last night. Of course, only 1 goal to come up with last night, 2 goals to come up with tonight for the Bruins, so they go for the 6th attacker early. And that one's onside. Selitzer tried to drive it through. Ooh. Still in front, knocked down by a UCLA hand, and that's going to draw a penalty from Alex Selitzer there.
Oh, no.
No goal, high stick.
Well, you knew that was coming. They, you know, I'm not really sure what happened. Kind of looked like the Bruin baited Alex into knocking that into the net just to get the stop clock, but maybe he just really was unsure of where Solitzer was.
Solitzer always been, as was his brother Dan, guys that defend with their sticks a lot, and there is the hazard that you're going to get called for your slashings and your high stickings every once in a while. So Solitzer will be sitting for the rest of the night unless UCLA scores, which they do right there. So a very brief time in the penalty box for Alex Solitzer.
This is where we see things really starting to heat up here. Gabe Elvin will come back out for the face-off, but I got to think that he's going to be coming back off the ice pretty soon.
Well, last night down a goal, they waited till exactly the 1 minute mark to pull him. They pulled him, more than twice that early tonight, and had that brief 2-man advantage there with the power play. We'll see 1:41 left. They have a 4-3 deficit that they face. The lead, of course, for Oregon, and for the first time. For the first time in this series, UCLA has found the back of the net in the third period. Had to think about what I was going to say there. 1:25 left in this third period. Things did get a little bit more interesting. They could get a lot more interesting there. but Kevin Lystad couldn't handle it cleanly.
Bit of a fan
Now
on
Nick
that one.
Shabara breaks through, 2-on-1 opportunity along with Scarlotta. Shabara goes for the shot, and it's saved by Elvin.
Way to control that puck by Elvin. Didn't allow a rebound. That was a wide open net on the right side. If he would have let that out even a little bit, Patrick Scarlotta would have been there to knock that in.
1:08 left.
It's getting a little depressing in here now.
A little bit. Even more if you know what this song was written about. We'll leave that one for another day. Minute 3 left in this game. UCLA has their goaltenders still on the ice. Now we'll keep an eye on Elvin as we're under a minute left. He can't get out of his own. He can't get out of his crease until the puck can get out of the zone. Now he will start to skate toward the ice. He's at the face-off dots and now back to his crease.
Things are
Thrown off the boards there. That's an interesting decision from UCLA, as it's going to lead to an icing, and now the face-off will go all the way back toward the Bruin zone, right in front of Gabe Elvin. So it's going to make it a lot harder for him to get off the ice here. So you've got to have a controlled face-off win for UCLA and get up the ice in a hurry just to get yourself that 6th attacker.
All in 36 seconds.
Well, they do get the puck up the ice, but not cleanly, and it will be icing. So 30 seconds now as that play eats 6 seconds off the clock.
We're reaching way back into like 1999 here. This is a collaboration by Jay-Z and Linkin Park, I believe.
I believe it is. I think 99 is not quite that old, but 25 seconds left in the game. Maybe we should focus on the hockey. UCLA with it in their own zone, still trying to get a position to get Elvin out of the game. There he does go to the bench, and they will commit for it, so his night is done. UCLA with the extra man, and Oregon not able to capitalize. Well, now they may. Pat Taylor with the empty net goal, and that's going to do it. 3 seconds left on the clock, and I didn't see what caused that, but there's a UCLA player on the ground.
Tackled by the ref, actually.
Did he make a run at somebody on... he must have, because he's being driven straight to the box.
I believe he made a run, one of the ducks, and the ref decided to quell that
he's
pretty
just going to be
fast.
done, is he? Or now back to the bench? Just kidding?
I suppose we'll see, won't we? 3 seconds left. Not much going here.
Well, they're not kicking him out. They're just asking him to go back to the bench. Not sure what's going on there, but 3 seconds left to make this official. And 2-1. That's the end of the game. Oregon with the 5-3 win. It was a very entertaining night. 5-3 again, the final. Pat Taylor with the empty netter to ice it. Big goals from Nick Shabara, Trevor Schott, and the usual suspects, and another great performance from Danny Cockrell. We will take one more break, and then we're going to shut down and go down and enjoy ourselves some skating. Well, 8 goals shared tonight. Oregon had 5 of them, with Pat Taylor getting the very last one on the empty netter to give Oregon the 5-3 lead. For the second night in a row, we saw UCLA come out and control the second period, and we saw 2 pretty quick goals in the third period for Oregon. That was the end of the story last night. It got a little more complicated after that tonight, but still the 5-3 win. Oregon able to get the sweep against UCLA in two wins that they really had to work for.
Yeah, I think it was good that they played UCLA right now. That UCLA definitely played them physical and didn't give them any inch, made the Ducks work for everything they had. This is a good matchup going into this next week against UW. You gotta wonder though if UW has got it together. Maybe we're gonna see a game. Ducks only need 1 in that next I-5 Cup trip up to Seattle.
Yeah, and again, we could see a very different Washington team. It was an early season game the last time we saw these two teams play. I don't think either team really had much of an identity developed yet, and that was a big problem for Washington in particular, with the loss of Corey James. Put all of the pressure on Ryan Minkoff instead of just half of the pressure on Ryan Minkoff like it was last year, and he was a very different player. He was still good, and he was still the best player on the ice for Washington, but a very different player this year than last year without having Corey James to work off of. Now, meanwhile, for Oregon, you very well, and I think we can say probably, will not have Joe Hoover on that trip up to Seattle, and that's going to be a big loss. Hoover took the 2 disqualifications tonight, 1 for fighting and 1 for removing his helmet. That, though, will be a story for next week. Dylan and I will be making the trip up with the team, so we do hope you join us watching the broadcast from Seattle. Like we mentioned, Oregon just needs 1 to win the I-5 Cup. Even if they do lose both, they'll have a chance to win it the way they lost it last year in a shootout on visiting ice, but let's hope it doesn't come to that. All Oregon needs is 1 solid win, then the other game will not matter. For tonight, though, 5-3 the Ducks over UCLA. My name is Isaac Rosenthal. For Dylan Lee, we're going to sign off. Thank you so much for listening, and good night.